Know your injury law. I worked as the lumber opener at Home Depot. The night crew ended their shift an hour later after I arrived. Every day I would see the crew preparing products except for one guy. He was always sweeping between the aisles or mopping, which seemed out of place as we contracted with a janitorial service. I decided to ask how and why he was assigned this work. This is his story. The guy was hired as part of the overnight shift. One evening, he was injured. The injury wasn't serious but not minuscule. Due to the large turnover of employees, the supervisor inquired if the guy could stay until the shift ended due to the large amount of tasks requiring completion. The guy agreed and completed the shift. A few days later, the guy was at a family reunion. He shared the story with relatives including his uncle, who is a lawyer. Even though his uncle did not specialize in work injuries, the uncle was aware the shift manager was required to send the guy home immediately and asking him to stay was illegal. The uncle explained the reason for such laws and offered to represent the guy for free. These cases are frequently addressed by a settlement rather than court. With initial hesitation, the guy agreed. The result was a settlement. I inquired as the amount which the guy could not provide due to signing a NDA but did confirm the amount was higher than most assumed. I repeated the original question with more emphasis. Why was this guy still working at Home Depot? He smiled and answered. As long as he arrived to work and completed his tasks, Home Depot could not fire him. His uncle had said to immediately contact if the job was terminated, as another lawsuit would occur. The termination easily could be viewed as retribution to the settlement. Home Depot slowly lessened the guy's hours and assigned menial tasks as they anticipated the guy's patience would end. The guy informed that he didn't need the job anymore and finally had the money to attend college due to the settlement. However, in the months prior to college beginning, he would continue to work at Home Depot because his refusal to quit enraged the management company. I laughed and thought this guy is a legend.
Wow, well, that was a pretty interesting story. And how about how lucky that guy was to have an uncle as a lawyer? All around solid stuff. Let's hear about this next story then.
My ex ghosted me, so I found a way that he will have to see my face every day. This was a while ago and I'm over him now, but about 2 years ago I dated a coworker. I know now that that was a mistake. I was barely in my 20s when this happened. We started as friends and hung in the same circles until we couldn't deny the attraction anymore. A couple months into dating we were planning on moving in together and maybe even getting married one day. We were inseparable and he was so affectionate with his words and actions. But then I got a promotion that required me to go out of state. We decided to do long distance for a while and I would keep a lot of my stuff at his place until I moved back. Then we would live together. Unfortunately, a month into long distance he ghosted me. There was no indication that things were going wrong, so I was devastated and blindsided. I had never been in a relationship before, so he was my first heartbreak. But the most annoying part was that he refused to acknowledge my existence even as just friends. We were in similar group chats and he would just skip over my comments. He would go out of town when I came in town, and he would get mad at me for hanging out with our mutual friends. I found this out through the grapevine. It was one of the few things I knew about him after the breakup. Eventually I moved on and met someone new, but I was still very hurt that someone who I once considered a great friend would just cut me out of my life for no reason. So here's where the petty revenge comes from. We have a company homepage that shows different slides of employees doing things like receiving awards or special events. The homepage plays on the TV screens at work as well as the computers. One day the company sent an email asking for pictures with a prompt, so I chose the pretty picture of myself I could find and a nice fluffy paragraph to go with it. Now the ex that ghosted me has to see my face every time he walks into work and opens up his computer. A revenge a year in the making.
Not only did she plot her revenge a year in the making, but she made it so that he has to see her face every day before work. That is absolutely hilarious and horrible at the same time. I couldn't imagine being that guy, what he must feel. Anyways, before we get into this next story, make sure you guys like and share this video, so I can keep making more of these for you guys.
Won't stop solicitation calls? Okay, I'll listen to your sales pitch. This is an old story, circa 1970s, that my dad loved to tell. When they first got married, my parents lived in a cabin in the woods. A one-room cabin, with an outhouse, located way out of the way from civilization. But somehow they got a telephone line installed, and somehow a salesperson got their phone number. He was selling aluminum siding. Despite being told many times they weren't interested, Dude kept calling. After about a dozen calls, dear old dad suddenly got very excited about the prospect of installing siding. He told the guy that he would only make a purchase from someone that he could shake hands with, but that he was 100% determined to get siding. He got the salesperson to agree to drive out to meet him. Of course, Dude got lost. Showed up just as the sun started to go down after driving around rural back roads all day. Saw the one-room cabin and just started cussing. Dad laughed the whole time he watched Dude reverse back down the mile-long dirt driveway. Never did get another phone call about installing aluminum siding.
What an amazing collection of stories. This is my third video of these, and I'll be making more, so make sure you guys go watch the other two if you haven't seen those yet. Peace!